This week will be my 16th wedding anniversary on Thursday, on the 5th. And I know you're all clapping that Joy was able to survive 16 years with me rather than celebrating that we've made it 16 years. But we're excited. We're going to be out spending some time together this week. And you can't help when you get ready for a big event in your life to do some reminiscing. So we're on week 2 of our series called Keys, and today is building relationships. We are not going to try to tackle all the different relationships that we have, but what we are going to do is to give you some pillars that I think will be a blessing and a help to you. So you know when you start a relationship, it's really easy to just be in love, right? That's the fun part, right? It's like, ooh, they're so pretty. You get like those warm fuzzies in your heart, and you get that little moment, right? And you get that choke in your throat. Well, Joy and I had a crazy experience even before I could get her to date me, which I'll tell that story some other time. Some of our Impact kids know about that one. But when we got engaged, I was in college, I was in seminary, I had no money. I'm talking no money. I had borrowed $5 from my best friend who became my best man for my wedding to take Joy on our first official date together to Chili's for water and bottomless tostada chips because I could do that for $5. And I said, I'm just going to have chips and salsa and water. What are you just going to have? You know, and that's kind of what we did. That's how we started. We had 3 baskets, you know. And then I wanted to get married so bad, and she was just this amazing gal. And we'd only been dating for a few months at this point, but I just knew she was the one. A lot of that has to do with, you know, temperament and who she is, and she just completed me so well like nobody else ever had. And I told her I don't have any money, and I didn't have any money. So what I had done is I went to a jewelry store, Whitehall, there in Florida, and I said, what's the most money you will finance me for? What kind of credit can I get? And to the dollar, that's what I bought for an engagement ring. And I had my friend come and stage, and I had her thinking this is never going to happen. I don't have any money. And, okay, she just walked in the room, so you got to give it up for Joy because it's our anniversary. There she is. So I get my roommate to go and help me do this because she's from the Cayman Islands, in case you don't know. And when she was a little girl, she was walking along the seashore. One of our favorite things to do as a couple is to walk along the sea and pick up different things and find things and pick up shells and stuff. Well, she was doing that, and she had picked up a conch shell, and inside it was a ring as a little girl. And she had messed up the moment for this couple to get engaged on the beach as a little girl. So I had the brilliant idea, I'm going to hide my engagement ring in a conch shell and make her think she did it again, and then that's how I was going to propose. So I get my roommate to go and watch this shell, because remember, I had financed everything I could, got the right one, beautiful little rock, you know, and got it already. And I'm telling her these hardships that I'm having in life, and I'm really laying on thick, and we're almost to the point of tears thinking this is never going to work. We had gone to this park. We were going to walk around, spend some time together, do all that, and we're just walking along this shore. We're picking up some stuff there in Pensacola, and then I saw him. As we walked around the corner, I see my roommate flying through the air, and all I see is this big fanny crashing into the bushes. I'm thinking, oh, my soul, she just saw him. This is over. He's supposed to be guarding the stone and placing the conch shell. This is over. And so quickly I found something behind us that she needed to look at so that she could not be noticed by the big rustling in the bushes as my giant roommate was crashing through the forest right there. And it was not good. He scurries away. We get up there. She walks right past it. I'm like, hey, what is this? She's like, oh, that's not a real thing. Somebody planted that there because it's too clean. I'm not touching that thing. He just keeps walking. Oops. So I said, oh, come on. How do you know that? She's like, Brian, I'm from the Cayman Islands. I know if it's a real shell or if it's a store-bought shell. That's a store-bought shell. I already messed up an engagement once. I ain't doing it again. I said, oh, come on. Let's just see. So she's like, fine. She goes over. She picks it up. It's full of packing peanuts. And I said, well, what do you think's in it? She pulls it out, and there's the wedding ring. And she goes, Brian, I told you I wasn't supposed to get this. And she starts being mad at me, putting it all back in there. And while she's doing that, I'm on one knee. And I asked her to marry me. You know, it's those stories, you know, that when you go through the hard times and stuff, that remind you of the good times. And today, our goal is to just help you feel and reminisce and think, but give you some tools and principles so we can create memories, create moments that memories are made from. And we know the relationships are hard. They're stinking hard. And I don't care if it's an employer-employee, marriage, parent-child, friendships. Relationships are just hard. And there's an art to relationships. It's not science. There's an art to it. So our goal today is simple. We're going to have, and by the way, a NewPath, I think you figured this out. We do a little bit of a workshop / sometimes I have to get on the box and preach on something, to do some teaching, tell stories. But at the end of the day is we just want to serve you, because I don't know what's happening in your world, but I have my best friend who does. And I want you and him to have a really cool conversation every time you come to NewPath, because he's the one that can get you through it far better than I could. And so today, that's our goal, and that's our heart. So here's our verse that we've been using for this series. So this series is Keys, Unlocking the Power, and we're going to share those keys with you today, building relationships. And he said this, by his divine power, God has given us everything we need for living a godly life. We received all of this by coming to know him, the one who called us to himself by his marvelous glory and his excellence. And our verse on friendship today and relationships is this. It's found in Proverbs, and there's a lot I could have chosen. But this one really kind of gave me some thoughts as I've been going through that season of my life. The heartfelt counsel of a friend is as sweet as perfume and incense. Never abandon a friend. Either yours or your father's. When disaster strikes, you won't have to ask your brother for assistance. It's better to go to a neighbor than to a brother who lives far away. Now, one thing I'm noticing more about society, and even in my life, is some of the people that are the closest to that I turn to in times of need aren't people that I share blood with. They're friends. They're family. When I look at my Thanksgiving dinners, a lot of those people around there aren't blood relatives, but they're our family. And wouldn't it be great as we have this new ministry to create that type of place where your friends to help you in time of need, you don't have to ask because they're already there. My friends, it doesn't say if disaster strikes. Who's going to help you when disaster strikes your life? We were in Colorado, as you guys know, born and raised. I was at Lake Dillon doing a little bit of a retreat with some of our dear friends, and for years we used to go on vacation with them as couples every year. And this year we had chosen to go up to the Rocky Mountains, and we have a timeshare up there, so we had this really nice resort there in the summertime, and we're down at the lake. And this is in August of 2011. August of 2011 was the season that I was finally starting to get out of my depression with the loss of my dad and my daughter. And it was a really hard time. But some of you may understand this and some of you may not. But when disaster hits me, I'm already a high AAA charging personality. I try to go to a higher gear. I try to go to another gear. I just try to lean in harder, and I think I can do it all. By the way, that's a great gift. It's also a great moment of weakness, too. And I remember going up there, and I was telling him everything that I was doing. And really what I was trying to get somebody to say is, Brian, you're doing a good job. You've done enough. It's okay. Great job. Something. Because my dad was a crazy guy, and that's one of the things I always needed from him. He never gave. And so there's part of me as an adult man still trying to seek that validation somewhere. But when I thought that a lot of my pain in my life was my fault, I thought that I could work my way out of it. And by the way, that doesn't work anyway. So I'm sitting up there, and I'm telling him everything that I'm doing, how great I am. And my heart was at a really low point at this moment in my life. And I'll never forget, he looked at me, and he said the exact thing I needed in that moment. It was one of those special moments that like time stops. And he said, Brian, you don't have to be Superman. And literally, here I am, standing on this lake. We're drowning worms. We're pretending to fish. We hadn't caught anything, but we went through a lot of worms. And literally, I just broke down. And he was there, and we just had this moment because it was like this burden of me having to do something that I can never undo was just more than I could bear. And you know what I'm finding out? A lot of people struggle with that. Relationships fly off the rails, things are hard, and I can do it. I have a lot of respect for single moms, single parents. Man, it's hard enough with both of us trying to make it work and bills and all that together, yet alone by ourselves and with kids, and that's a lot. But this is where God comes in, because you don't have to do it by yourself. You can do it with him, and he can help you. We're going to talk about that today. So the first thing I would like you to do as we go through this is I'd like you to pick a relationship that you would like to improve through these principles today. Now, this relationship could be something that you know is strained, or it could be something that you think is good and you want to go to a higher place, that you want to grow, or something that needs to heal. And if it's the person to your right or your left, use code. Please don't write in big words, my wife, as she's sitting next to you. Okay, that's probably not going to help. But if you want to write that down, because here's the goal. I want you to kind of have that person in mind as we talk through this, because it's easier to take abstract concepts, which a lot of these principles are, and see it if you can actually write it down. So I want you to just put that person into your thoughts. And I'm going to show you the 4 pillars to relationships. Here we go. Number 1 is honor. Honor literally means placing weight or value on someone. Love, sacrificing yourself for someone else's benefit. Trust, putting confidence in a person or an idea. Or hope is believing that the future will be better than today. If you need those 4 things, I don't care what relationship it is, if you lose one of those pillars, that thing is going to fall down. I've built a lot of houses in my life, done a lot of additions, a lot of concrete. What's interesting, when you go take your general contractor's license, it's amazing how many questions are about the foundation. Well, my friends, aren't you thankful they ask a lot of questions about the foundation? You can make the prettiest, coolest house, but if it's got a jacked up foundation, you're going to have a problem. And what I want you to think about today is if I'm missing one of these 4 things, this is the foundation of a relationship. If one of them's in trouble, we're in trouble. So we got to work on that today. But the hope is we can restore and we can grow and we can get there. And can I just talk a little philosophy for a second? Just do a little parentheses. As a young parent, I seem to find with my kids that when they messed up, I'd almost rehearse what they did wrong a lot. But the older I've gotten, my kids know when they blow it. We've gotten to the place actually in our relationship that when they blow it, I can say, okay, you tell me what you think I need to say to you right now. And they will say, yeah, I did. And they'll just kind of lay it out there. I'm like, hey, thanks, job done, right? But here's something that's even greater, and it's even more powerful, and it's more amazing than that. I don't need somebody rehearsing in their life where I blow it. I want somebody rehearsing me what I got and what I can become. I want somebody celebrating what I can do with my life, where I can go, what I can be, what I can experience, with the honor I can feel, the love I can feel, the trust I can feel, the hope I can have. That's what I want spoken over me. So can I just give a philosophy thing here? When you come to NewPath, we're not going to rehearse everything you've done wrong. Because by the way, if you're already God's kids, he's already dealt with that. And it's already forgiven. It's scattered so far away. The Bible says he doesn't even remember it anymore. So what in the world am I doing bringing it up? But what we are going to do is tell you what he gave you and what you can become. And we're going to speak that over your life. And that's what's going to happen in this house. And I hope that that helps somebody here today. Because don't you want to be in a place that talks about where you can go, not what you're running from or what happened? Now, sometimes we'll talk about stuff because we obviously all have areas where we just have to say it that way. But let's be people that say, I want to tell you where you can go and what God wants to do with you, not just tell you what you're not or what you did do. Now, let's think about this. Did God place honor on us when we didn't deserve it? Hey, by the way, let me just speak about honor for a second. Honor is that weight. It's putting something weighty on something. It's placing great value on something. So the opposite would be thinking something very lightly, not taking it serious at all. Well, when God said he created humans, he made it in his very image. It puts a lot of weight on you. When he fashioned you exactly the way he wanted to do. And he made you the pinnacle of his creation. He put great honor on you. Honor is given to everyone. I don't care what you've done. I don't care what you haven't done. As a human, we honor you. But let me help you with something. Did you hear me ever say that you naturally respect everybody? We honor all of God's kids. Respect is earned. When you walk into this place, we're going to honor you. And I hope that you've already felt that. We are honored with your presence. We're thankful for it. But I don't know you very well, so I don't know how much I respect you in some other areas, but I'm always going to honor you. And that's the difference when our kids blow it, because when they do blow it, and they will blow it, let's remind them about who they are and what they're going to be instead of what they just did and who they are. And I'm so thankful our society has shifted, and I think this is a lot of a positive shift. Instead of saying, you are blank. In other words, you idiot. Remember? We let the action become their identity. We just messed up. You didn't act like who you are. You're better than that. Do you feel the difference there? Let's call people to what God's value on them, not what they've done. Second thing, love, sacrificing yourself. Are you willing to do something at your own peril for their benefit? That's sacrifice of love. I will do something that actually hurts me to benefit you. Boy, don't you want to be in that community? Who doesn't want to be in that relationship, right? By the way, did Jesus do this for us? Have you ever heard of this verse called John 3:16? For God so loved that he gave. That's the whole basis of Christianity. Is he said, I created you in my image. I place great value on you, and I'm going to show you how crazy I am about you. And I'm going to give you everything I can to make us good again. Boy, he's loved us. Has he trusted us? Ooh, okay, let's look at that one. Does God trust? Do you realize that the hope of the world is the church? How many of you have never thought about that before? Who else is going to go and say the greatest restoration you can have in your life is what God, who created you and fashioned you and gave you, can help you become and go and do? He trusted us to be the hope of the world. And what's the hope? Eternity. Hey, by the way, I have a lot of things here that are in my mind that I want to, as we start this ministry, I want to make sure you understand this in my heart. I don't want to just talk about what someday in heaven's going to be. I'm thankful what it's going to be, but I really don't know exactly what it's going to be. But I don't want to spend so much time looking towards heaven that I don't understand how to enjoy this life right now. And stop and just do the little things. It was amazing. There was quite a sunset a couple nights ago. Did you guys get that? That was like lit up the sky. I mean, it was like stop, take notice, the truck's off the road. I got to stop. I just want to take a moment. Do we take moments and just enjoy the little things right now? Or are we so heavenly minded that we're really not connected with anything that's going on here? And if your only hope, catch this, if your only hope is someday I get to escape this terrible place, what a miserable life to live. All right, let's keep going. All right, so we have a name written down, and there's no arrows, and there's no elbows throwing. The 4 pillars to relationships. I hope this really helps explain these better. I wrote on the left side that you have some underuse, and the right side some overuse. So sometimes when we try to understand something, we got to kind of see what it's not. So if you're experiencing this or you're seeing this in the relationship here, Let's see if we can help bring some clarity to get it back to alignment. Because really what growth is aligning things back in place. So on the left side of honor is if you don't honor somebody, you shame somebody. And by the way, shame is not a part of God. Aren't you thankful for that? Jesus became our shame, so we could experience honor. By the way, what's the overuse of honor? What is that? Idolization. Idolizing things, putting somebody up on an unrealistic pedestal, doing something that they cannot do. Why are people never an idol for me? Because they can never do for me because they're just humans. God's on my pedestal. He's my trophy. He's the one I want to be like. He's my hero. He's my superstar. It's not people. And we do get a little caught up with people. Oh, they're so pretty. Oh, they're so talented. Oh, they wear the coolest shoes. Okay, whatever it is, I don't know. But it's amazing talking to teens how we get so quickly idolized on things and quickly impressed. My friends, can we get impressed with God and just have a place where we can put him back up where he needs to be? Because if you idolize somebody, kids, here's the thing. They're going to let you down because they're just people. They're going to let you down. That Bill Cosby thing, that was hard for a lot of people. Man, I loved watching the Cosby Show growing up. And to hear all that, And my friends, can I help us all with something? This is really why we're protesting organized church anymore. So one of the biggest things, because there's so many scandals even in the church. You with me today? Anybody out there? Okay. And did you guys listen to the news at all this week? There's a whole lot. It's been a rough week, okay? There's been a lot of stuff out there that keep us kind of losing heart because we believe in people, but God says, my faith does not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God. That's where my faith stands. Notice the second one. So if you're in a relationship and you're expecting them to do something they can't do, you're idolizing them, so let's just get them back down to earth, okay? Here we go. Number 2. Selfishness is the underuse of love. Instead of giving myself for you, I'm expecting you to do something for me. You feel that? Here's the other side. If you love somebody so much, you can smother them. Let me explain. Have you ever had somebody so crazy about you or love you so much, it's like, oh, I need some space. I need some room. I'm going to build a wall there, okay? I need some, right? Have you felt that? Boy, we're made to be free. So if you love somebody too much and you need them and all, boy, it's like, woo, I can't do this. Can I just give you a little nugget? If you want to be fulfilled in life, just do something for somebody that has no way to repay you. To just say, I just want to show you I love you. Just wanted to show you. Don't you want to be in that relationship? Because relationships you're supposed to give to, and if you're both giving to it, you're both going to be getting from it. But there's a process there. We got to get from relationships, but it starts by giving first. Notice the next one. Trust. If you have underuse of trust, you're suspicious. If you're overuse, you're gullible. Who wants to live in suspicious or gullible relationships or hope? Some people just have a wish. It's just like, I hope it's all good, but they don't have any strategy, no plan. It's just an idea. It's not really got any teeth to it. And then the overuse is presumption. They're overly confident. They're overly expecting that they do that, and then that just makes your heart sick too. So let's gauge them a little bit, right? We'll give you some chance to work on this. And number 2 is in the relationship that you selected to focus on today, which one of the pillars is your strongest? Write which one down. On that relationship, is it honor, love, trust, or hope? Say, man, we got this. This is our strong one. And by the way, we believe you need to play to your strengths. Use your strengths to overcome your weaknesses. Don't just ignore them. God creates us that way to get there. And then, honestly, which is the weakest? Which one do you need to strengthen? I don't like sitting on a 4-legged stool on 3 legs. They fall down. Or you spend your whole time trying to balance on it. And that's not how you want to live. So which one do you want to strengthen so it's not a weakness to you? Okay, so let's go to some stuff. Say, okay, Brian, I agree with the ideas. I agree with them. They're pretty solid. They make sense. And I could talk more on the psychology side why these are the 4, but that's for another environment. But let's give you some practical tools. You ready? 4 tools to help strengthen relationships. I'm going to tell you what they are real quick. Positive communication, forgiveness, appreciation, and self-leadership. The first one is positive communication. Don't use foul or abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. All right, let's go to the next point. Did you guys notice how hard that one is? All right, I'm sure this never happens to you. Typically, I'm a communicator, and I'm pretty good, talking and words and all that. But did you know that my greatest strength can also be my kryptonite at times? And this happens mostly when I'm driving. I don't know why it is about driving. I don't know, but I become somebody else sometimes. And there's times I'm driving down the road, I'm minding my own business, I'm doing good, and all of a sudden somebody will come and cut me off, and they'll show me a gesture that's less than inspiring. Yeah, I'm number one. That's what it is. And then I'm sitting there, and it's amazing. Typically, I coach people, right? Don't react, just respond, and teach them all that good stuff. I'm like, you jerk! You moron! I don't know about you, but God's really good at quickly catching us. And as soon as I spoke that, man, that happened just not that long ago. I'm driving. I was actually pulling the trailer out there and I'm going slow. But when I'm pulling the trailer, I'm not trying to see how fast I can go. I'm trying to be safe and trying to go slow. But I was not going fast for them behind me. It all happens. And I'm like, come on, you jerk. And as soon as I said it, was like God sitting right there with me. He's like, yeah, but that's my jerk. And Brian, you prayed for him when you started this church. You prayed for everybody in this community that you could someday pastor him and have an impact and a positive on him. So, do you have something to say, son? I'm sorry, sir. Do you realize how quickly it is? But here's the hard part. Who's in the back seat? No one that day. Aren't you thankful? It was just me. I got you. Okay, let's keep going. So, positive communication. 4 things. You thought I was going to say my kids. Praise often. Are we good at this? Here you go. Praise people. Find moments to praise them. Here's a quick thing. Don't always do it right after they do it. Here's what you do. They did something really cool. Make a note on your phone. It's called a Google reminder, an event. Set it up. And then 3 days later, it'll pop up. You say, oh yeah, they did really good at that. And then you watch what will happen. Walk up to them. No, you can't do it to anybody in this room because they'll know, okay? But outside this room, you walk up to them and say, hey, I don't know if I really told you, but when you did that, you were awesome. And you tell me what happens right there. You just made a moment to make a memory. You just did something in there that changed them for the good. Was that hard to do? But it's one thing to start saying, okay, I'm just going to praise them, and so you're always trying to find it. But pretty soon they just get used to that. So now you got to go a step further. Say, how do I let them know just really how special they are? Praise people. As much as possible. Speak from the positive, not the negative. Talk about who they are and where they're going and what they can become, not what they're not and what they'll never be. Boy, if there's anything in this life we need to start doing is celebrating what people can do instead of worrying about what they can't do. I wish I have an illustration on that, but I don't have time today. Andy Stanley warns us. He says, we're always one decision, we're one word, we're one reaction away from the damaging what has taken years to develop. Leaders, listen to me for a minute. We work so hard to cast the vision, align to the vision, know where we're going, get people going, and it takes one moment. It's not fair. I never said that, but it's reality. And we can lose everything we spent forever working on. That's why the next point is so important. Forgiveness. The Bible says, make allowance for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Catch this, underline this, circle this, write this down. God said, make allowance. You don't make allowance for something unless you know it's going to happen. When you put a budget together, because this is the idea, I hope that you make allowance for your rent. Or you'll end up in a van down by the river. I'll let you figure that one out there. So, make allowance. In other words, put it down that you will be offended. It's going to happen. So you just got offended. Now what do you do? Forgive. Here's some principles. When we don't forgive, we mostly hurt who? That other person doesn't even realize that. We all mess up. Forgiveness isn't possible. Progress isn't possible without forgiveness. In other words, in any relationship, think about the one you wrote down. You will not move forward unless you practice this tool to strengthen one of those pillars. You will be hurt. They will do dumb things. I didn't notice this. I didn't say they were dumb, but we do dumb things. I do dumb things all the time. I'm really good at saying I'm sorry. Do you make allowance for that with each other? By the way, that's where that pedestal thing, that overuse of honor, doesn't work. Because if you don't think they do, that when they do, you're not going to know what to do. There's a lot of do's in that sentence. Appreciation. You'll see this one definitely between two lovebirds in seminary. I thank my God in all my remembrance of you, hearts and loves. It's a very spiritual way to tell somebody, I'm crazy about you. Do you thank God for the people that God brings into your life? We're going to spend a whole month in November. Yeah, we're going to be a little cheesy, but we're going to do our next series called #Blessed. And we're going to talk about the art of giving thanks to God, receiving things from God, giving thanks to others, and receiving thanks from others. So I'm not good at that. I like giving, telling people thank you, but I'm not good receiving thank you very much. Are you kind of that way? But we'll talk about that day. But that's where we need to go. I want to be that place where we appreciate each other. Focus on what they can do, so on and so forth. Figure out what makes them feel loved and do it. Celebrate differences. Do you know why we do temperament training and stuff? Because we're all stinking different. Great! I love that. I hate everybody being the same. I love the diversity. Not just, and by the way, we're far more diverse on the inside than we are on the outside. Can I just help us with that real quick? I don't know why we're like, oh, because we look different, we're together and different. Guys, my friends, we are so diverse on the inside, it's ridiculous. My relationship stuff was mostly internal stuff, not external stuff. You follow what I'm saying? So let's learn to celebrate those differences instead of letting those differences drive us crazy. The greatest gift outside of God in the Bible to our relationship and our marriage was the study of temperament. Because I can now understand why she does what she does. And my wife is the rarest of all female temperament types. .9% of the population are her temperament type. So who wants to help me with that one? But I'm in a rare temperament type too. And when I read that, I said, man, your natural compatibility for an ENFP is an INTJ, and this is why it works. And all of a sudden I'm like, that's why we fell in love, because we could talk about these really abstract, crazy things and go to our in world and that's where it was. And I've turned her just to being my helper instead of my mental partner, and I've treated her the way that the church tells us to treat ladies in some ways, and that they're just supposed to take care of the kids and stuff, and I'm going to make the money in these traditional roles, and she was not succeeding there because that's really not who she was wired to be, and so now I'm trying to ask her to, instead of being thankful who she is and what God has made her, I'm expecting her to be something she's not, and she'll never be good at something she's not, so now because she's not excelling, now I'm beating her down. Do you see this? But the day I could say, oh, that's who you are again. But we fell in love all over again. Deeper and richer and sweeter than it ever was before. Because God says, dwell together in knowledge. Understand each other. Know them. Which leads us to the next point. Figure out what makes them feel loved and do it. Be creative ways to show that you care about them. Self-leadership, you ready? This is a major thrust. theme of NewPath. We want to help you figure out how to lead yourself. By the way, the Bible word for self-leadership is self-control. Let me connect some dots real quick. There's a lot of verses about self-control. Do we all know what self-control is? Here you go. Controlling yourself. This just sounds deep, right? Are you able to control yourself? Because the better you can control yourself, you're actually leading yourself. Let me explain a little bit. I discipline my body like an athlete, trained to do what it should. Otherwise, I fear that after preaching to others, I myself might be disqualified. What's he saying? I can't ask something of somebody else that I'm not willing to try myself. That's tough, but that's what he's trying to say. He says, I lead myself first. Then I have the opportunity to lead others. Man, that's a really poor parenting tactic that I tried for years. It just doesn't work. Do as I say, not as I do. If it really is the best way to live, show it. Why? It's like, oh, this is the best product in the whole world. You got to try it. Well, do you use it? No, I don't use that thing. But you really got to use it. It's the best product in the whole world. It's like, really? Come on, I'm not buying that. Well, friends, that's what your kids are doing? Let me help you with that. That's just kind of what they're doing. Like, hey, I'm out, dude. Can't do it. Then I have the opportunity to lead others. There are many things in my life that I can only lead. Do you believe that? There's only some things you can do. I don't care how many therapy sessions you go, how many coaching sessions you go. At the end of the day, you got to want to do it. And you got to do it. Boy, that was really high. I don't know what happened there. Got to get back to my man range. Self-control. There are many things in life that I can leave. Self-control is a key part to self-leadership. Being able to tell yourself what to do and then not to do is a goal for all of us. Okay, let's just lean on that for a second. We got to be able to get to the place where I can tell myself what I need to do and then do it. You with me? I'm going to tell myself I'm not going to eat my 4th slice of cake. And I'm not going to eat my 4th slice of cake. I'm going to stop at 3.5, okay? I have a margin there. Are we at a place in our life where we can actually say, I'm not going to do that, but I'm also going to do that and then do it? By the way, that's how you grow. You're forming new habits. And if they're the right habits, in time they become your lifestyle. And your legacy becomes your reputation. And your reputation becomes your legacy. Because here's what we want to do in NewPath. We want to speak these truths into you, and we want to help you. We want to help you know God, create your own My NewPath, build relationships, and leave a legacy. But that all starts really with these fundamental principles in your own life and telling yourself what you need to do and then doing it. Did I say it was easy? All right, I got to illustrate this. I'm going to do this a lot. Just bear with me. Some of you have done this before. Many of you are like, I don't even know what he's talking about. Everybody take your hands and put them together like this, please. Come on, this is a group participation moment. You can handle this. How many of you, when you put your fingers together, are right thumbs? Can I see your hands? Right thumb people. Real high. On top. Which thumb's on top? Right thumb? Highest hand? That is like me. You are a highly favored above all. Let me just tell you right now, because I'm a right thumb, and that's what we're. Okay, how many of you are left thumbs? Okay, there's more left thumbs. Okay. We'll pray for you. Okay, question. Do you guys, is there a right and a wrong on this? No, there really isn't. Okay, everybody reverse. How does that feel? I was like, oh, it just happened. What? You guys are wrong. Isn't that how it feels? Like, that's wrong. It's not good. My friends, there's not a right and a wrong. There's a preferred way. But my friends, if you can learn to control yourself and tell yourself, even if it's a different way than what your natural habits are, and do it in time, that will become the preferred way. That's really how you grow. You got to get over that feeling, the first thing, and some of us, our temperaments are such where I'm backing into the future, I'm staring into the past. It's a different way. I don't know, because I'm so used to it this way. And this is wrong because it just doesn't feel right. My friends, the first time I went to Cayman to see my wife, she's from the Cayman Islands. My friends, they drive on the wrong side of the road there. And we had a big fight about this. She says, no, Brian, just because you're from America doesn't mean that everything in America is right. It's just different. But my friends, don't we kind of have that? If it's different, our first response is it's wrong instead of just different. My friends, if we can't deal with that in ourselves, in our own choices, how are we ever going to do that with somebody else? That's controlling yourself. I know it's a better way to go. It feels different. And God, help my feelings to come online with what I know is right. Let's go to the bottom here. I have some gauges for you. This is really fun. When you experience honor, okay, everybody have gauges on your car? I hope so. Do all the gauges on your car show you everything that's happening in your motor while it's running? Do we have any motorheads in here that can help us with this? All right. They're not. There's a lot of other things they could gauge in the car. But the engineers have said these are the most important you need to know. Is it important to know if you have enough gas? If you have oil pressure? If your engine's too? It's got just a few things it's checking. Because you want to make sure they're working. Let's see these gauges for our relationship to see how they're working. When you experience honor, you feel valuable. When you experience love, you feel appreciated. When you experience trust, you feel safe. When you feel hope, you feel unstoppable. I don't know about you, but that's a relationship I want to be in. And I'm so thankful that my life's partner is those things to me. Man, she's awesome. Yes, you come here, and it's always a joy commercial, but I'm bragging. I got her. She's amazing. But you know why she's amazing? Because she, as a little girl, started applying these things and changed all these things, and in time, that became who she is. Because this is what she does for me. In our relationship, man, I feel valuable. I feel appreciated. I feel safe. I feel unstoppable. Because, there's times that I'm afraid, and I don't feel like I can go, and I don't know how she does it, but she can get me to believe again. That's a true friend. Look at those in your gauges, because, my friends, let me say it in the negative space. If you're not feeling those, go back to the workshop and let's see what we can do to strengthen them. See how it works? Okay, it's a little off. Here's what it is it an overuse and underuse. Go back to a tool, apply to it, and strengthen it so it can grow. So do you all see how this all kind of connects today in this workshop sermon-y weird thing? My NewPath, here you go. The heartfelt counsel of a friend is sweet as perfume and incense. I hope that this is how it felt today, that you're like, man, I was encouraging, inspiring. I have some tools. I'm going to work on it. We're going to get this thing right. Where is your relationship? What is the goal you hope to achieve in this relationship? Write it down. My friends, can I give you the greatest thing about NewPath that is in my heart of why we even started this? Is if there's anything we need to lead in our lives, it's the things that are most important. Because, friends, if you were to write your best friend's funeral today, God forbid, okay, but you just did this as fun. Don't think it's all morbid and weird. Just bear with me. If you were to write your best friend's funeral today, what would you say about them? It would be in these 4 areas. It would be something about their faith. Man, they were a passionate God follower. They really believed, and they accepted these things, okay? It would be something about faith. It will definitely be something about relationships. Hence, week 2, keys unlocking the power of relationships. We're talking about them. Character, which we're going to talk about next Sunday. And then health, how well they lived in a healthy life. Not just physically, but in health. That's life. We'll use work and money to support those things. But, my friends, can I just encourage you and inspire you and help you dream? Have a goal for your relationship of what you want it to be. So then you can actually take steps to get there. And we'll talk about goals. There's 2 sides. It's got to be able to be measured and have the qualitative and quantitative. We'll teach all that in my NewPath. But my friends, you got to know where you're going. Where are you going? What do you want to be? And it can't just be platitudes. It can't just be, I want it to be really great. Well, define great. What is great? You know what? It could say, we're not going to stop until I feel value, appreciation, safety, and we're unstoppable. Boy, who wants to be in that relationship? I do. Sign me up for that one. Notice the next one. Which tool do you feel or think will help you strengthen your relationship? Positive communication, forgiveness, appreciation. Write it down. What is one way that you can use this tool effectively right now? Think about it. Schedule that appointment. Get your phone out. Make that notice. What is something you can do to strengthen it? My friends, we're not here to just get excited and go, yay. We're trying to figure out how to bring these principles into your life so you can experience it every day. We want you to go, yay, but we want more than that. Notice the next one. Using the gauges. How do you feel in this relationship? One of the greatest gifts that Joy's ever given me is I've never wondered if she was messing around on me. That's never even been a thought. Even when I was all over the place. My friends, I'm going to tell you some of the craziest stuff that we went through in our early marriage that was just circumstances. And man, if I was married to that family, I would have been like, I'm out of here. Somehow she didn't. So she's amazing. How does the other person appear to feel? Boy, that'd be a good gauge question. How do you feel in this relationship? Do you think this will help you today? Think there's some stuff that'll generate some conversations? Grab a cup of coffee, talk about? My friends, I want us to build relationships. I want you to take them to higher heights. Man, I don't know if it's one that needs to get healed, but I give you some steps to heal things, or if it's something that's good that you want to go to higher heights. You can't sit back on this stuff. You can't just let go of the wheel. You got to keep going, keep fighting. But let's fight for the few things that really matter instead of all the things that distract us. We live in a super busy world, don't we? I don't know what happened this week, but my wife and I looked at each other this morning and we're like, what happened last week? That was insanity. Did we sleep? Did we just all week? I don't know what it was, but it's like every time. We have 4 kids, friends. They're busy. We have lock-ins and basketball. And it's just like all we do is just drive around. Okay, they have to be here. We got to do. It's just like, oh, wow. And it's so easy to take a moment to make a memory by creating a moment. Some of the most effective moments that we've ever created, but the memories that we feel today, they weren't long and they weren't expensive, they weren't hard. One of my favorite ones was just a few months ago. We have 4 kids. We have Nikki, he's 5, he's in kindergarten. Izzy, she's in 2nd grade. Ben's in 8th grade, and Josh is in 8th grade, and Ben's in 9th grade. See, it's been a long week, all right? And I said, we're going to play a baseball game because they love playing baseball. And so typically when I play with Nikki and Izzy, we bring the whole diamonds right here, right? Because he's 5 and 8, you know, they're little kids, you know. But we all played on this diamond. And it was Ben and Josh versus Izzy and Nikki. And who won? Izzy and Nikki destroyed Ben and Josh. Because when we're pitching to Nikki and Izzy, here you go, buddy. You ready? Here's the ball. You ready? Whack. Good job. I'm falling down. I can't get to the ball, and he's hitting home runs every time. And then there's Izzy. She hits the ball backwards, and it's a home run. I mean, she made contact. That's a home run every time. I can't get there. She's so fast. But I don't know what's wrong with Ben and Josh. They couldn't hit the ball. We were this far away. I just hit the ball, and I just throw it at them, and they couldn't hit the ball. I don't know what was wrong with them, but they could not do it. And Izzy and Nikki, they just destroyed their brothers that day. We had so much fun laughing and playing. After I got Josh over the moment to realize we were just having fun because he really did want to win, you know, because there's a lot of pride when you're 13 to beat a 5-year-old. Create a moment. Make a memory. My friends, that didn't take more than 20 minutes. But we laughed. We played. All of us. What can you do? Write down something this week. And then text me. Share. I want to hear about it. I want to hear how you're making moments that create memories. That's what builds these relationships. That's the tool. Do you see how this works? And you know what that whole moment was? We're just going to praise each other, celebrate, and just have stinking fun and not make it hard. You know, there's a lot of things that come at us, but there's a few things that we just do not tolerate. We will have family night once a week. It may change some nights, but that's something that sorry kids, family night. We block that. Now, mom and dads, can I just help you with something? If you make it lame, I wouldn't want to go either, okay? If you have family dinner, which is something we try to do every night, if you don't have fun, I won't share either. Why do you think kids' ministry here is so important to us, and why do you want to have fun? Because when kids think about church, we want them to think, I love going there because it's just so fun, and I learn. And makes sense? I like to pray over you guys and go. But if you're here today, I just have to simply say this. If you don't have a relationship with Jesus, everything I've talked about can't experience the power that it needs without him. He needs to be the centerpiece of your relationship. He is in the Densmore family. He's in our marriage. He's everything. Everything we shared are his principles. They're not mine. They're his. So if anything helped you today, he helped you. But if you don't know him personally, you can know him today. And I'm going to pray a prayer right now, and you don't have to say it out loud, but say it in your heart. And it's not the magic words, but something in your heart that can make this happen. And if you pray this prayer, you don't have to do it every week. You just have to do it one time to be born into his family. And if that's where you are today, I encourage you to pray with it. And afterward, stop by our Connect table. We have a Bible for you and a book by one of my friends that tells you about the new relationship you have with him. And then I wrote you a letter. So just stop by and say, I prayed with Brian, and we'll be happy to get that to you. So let's pray. God in heaven, we thank you for today. We know that there's a lot of things that we could be doing, but we hope that we add value to people's lives so we could help them in the things that actually matter in their relationships. So Lord, I just pray a prayer of blessing for everybody who walked with me today, that are thinking about a relationship that they want to grow or heal in, that you will help that today. But Lord, if there's somebody here today that does not have a relationship with you, and they're like, I'm lost and I need to get that settled, and I want to know this Jesus, Lord, I pray that you'd help them right now as we help them do that. And it's not a complicated thing. All they have to do is say, God, I know that I've messed up. Your Bible calls it sin. I've done a lot of things wrong. But I'm thankful that you have taken everything I've wrong with me on your cross and your body when you died. And somehow your blood became a currency to pay for everything I've done wrong. And the best way I know how, I received that gift in my heart today, in my life. Lord, thank you for doing that for us. Lord, I'm thankful for what you've done in my heart and my life. Lord, save me. In Jesus' name, amen. If you just prayed that prayer, please stop by the table. I'd love to see you back there. Facebook friends, thanks for watching live with us today. We will see you next week as we continue talking about shaping character. We'll see you all next week.